In the past year, 46 million Americans changed jobs. And that has led to one of the hottest hiring frenzies in American history. The competition is fierce. I'm Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, and host of The Ken Coleman Show. And I'm here with HR expert Armando Lopez to talk about what leaders like you can do to win the hiring game. So Armando, you've got 30 years of HR experience and you understand this. And even though this is really an unprecedented time in hiring history, good techniques, good strategies, good people are still there to find. So Let's talk about that. What is the key to winning this game?
I don't think there's one key. So I think there's several keys. But one of the keys, obviously, what we've seen, Ken, in this market, while unprecedented, we've seen this before. In the late 90s, and I know that you're old enough to remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Unemployment was at its lowest. People were fighting for people. And what we saw was sign-on bonuses became a common and normal thing. Right? Prior to that late 90s, a sign-on bonus was only something that a superstar athlete received. But all of a sudden, McDonald's was offering sign-on bonuses for grill cooks.
Wow.
And so we've seen this before, and what has happened since 2020, with everybody wanting the same quality talent that's out there, is compensation has gone through the roof, right? So attraction, if a company wanted to compete and attract the right people, they had to hire and they had to pay the right amount of money, right? And so people go, well, what is the right amount of money? Whatever it takes to get the person you need. Then can you ROI that position? If you're going to pay that much money for someone, can you actually get an ROI on that? Otherwise, what we're seeing today is all those companies that did mass hiring, what are they doing today?
Well, they're laying them off.
Yeah. And that is not good business, right? And so we hear from different founders and CEOs almost apologetically saying to those people, it's my fault and I shouldn't have hired that many people. But it doesn't solve the fact that they went crazy with salaries and crazy with hiring, and now they're having to do the exact same thing with layoffs.
Yeah.
Not good for anybody.
No, it's not. And does it create distrust in the marketplace when people are out there looking at large companies laying off? I mean, we're talking en masse. What does that do to the potential talent pool?
Yeah. So the dirty HR secret is that supply and demand plays a part in the salaries being offered, and it plays a part in the positions being given, right? And so when you see this many people flood the market, right, 210,000 tech layoffs that have happened since 2022 going through the end of December, that's a lot of people flooding the market. And so as an employer, some employers are saying, hey, I still have pent-up demand, I still have positions, but should I still be paying those premium rates that I was paying just 6 months ago? Should I be paying a little bit less? And so that distrust that you talked about happens from that person looking for a job that says, 6 months ago, this company offered me $200,000, and now for the same job, this new employer is offering me $160,000. You begin with a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same or similar work, and I'm getting paid a lot less.
So what are some of the retention challenges? We want to keep these people, stop this revolving door where people are always looking for something better. What can we do? What can leaders do to help with retention?
When it comes to compensation, one of the questions I get a lot from either small business owners or other HR professionals, it really boils down to, why should we care about compensation? Why should a company hire somebody to do compensation? Isn't that just going to raise wages? Why should we do that? And it boils down to three things. Attraction. A company, if you're able to attract people for the salary that you're offering, you shouldn't look to raise wages. You're paying the right amount. You're able to hire the great quality talent, the skills that you need, the experience that you need to come in and do the job that you have for them to do. So you shouldn't raise your compensation. The second one is the second word you asked about, which is retention. What should a company do? Well, if you're losing a bunch of people because they're getting paid a lot more money, you should know what your competition is doing, and you should know what is the market for those positions. Are you paying fairly? If you're losing a lot of people to money, you're not paying fairly. And you should take the time to study the market and see what is the right amount of money that you should be paying. Money is not everything for retention, right? But it is one of the basic needs. If you can't feed your family, then you're not going to care about the great culture, the great environment. The other things are secondary if you can't pay your bills.
Yeah.
So that's going to become the primary thing. And the third out of the three that we talked about, so it's attraction, retention, and the last one is motivation.
Mm-hmm.
What is an employer doing to reward the right behavior? Are they rewarding it the right way? Are they incentivizing people to do the right things? If you incentivize the right leading indicators, you know that the lagging indicators will follow. If you incentivize, for example, the number of phone calls that a salesperson does, you know that eventually those are going to turn to sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the attraction, retention, and motivation of compensation. Those are the three things and the three reasons why a company should care about what they're paying their team.
Yeah. But I want to go back into something you said on the retention side, and I think it's fundamental. Fundamentally, yes, someone should be able to feed their family. But we're in an extraordinary time right now. Someone could be making really good money. You were paying them fairly.
Yep.
But with the scarcity of workers, and companies are now jacking up compensation to attract talent. Okay, so talent leaves you, right, because you were paying fairly and the market changed dramatically quickly. At what point does a company go, okay, there is certainly market if the market is what the market is, you know, but at the same time, I was paying fairly. It wasn't a needs-based issue. It is now, hey, we're in a bidding war. I think that puts leaders in a really complex situation. Any wisdom in that?
Yeah, so you can choose to not get into the same bidding war. Right? Companies that are willing to pay a lot more are also willing to lay people off very quickly, right?
That's right.
They have a variable component to what they do. Here at Ramsey, we actually don't do that. In the history of the company, we've never had a layoff. That being said, when we hire someone, we want to make sure that we have the money in the bank. We want to make sure that we can pay them long term. We're not hiring them so we can turn around and lay them off in 6 months if it doesn't work out, if the revenue goes down. And so it takes a lot more due diligence. It takes a lot more of really looking at your books and understanding the need and what this person is going to do and how they're going to ROI. Then back to your point. So do we pay more because the rest of the market is paying more? Yeah, sometimes we do. We look at the market and we try to analyze it and say, if the market is growing, say at 6%, we might say we're going to do it at 5%. But you're not going to lose your job. So we will attract people at 5% because of the culture, because of the mission, the other great things about our company. But we will also not lay off when they do.
So Armando, what do leaders do when the market is outpacing preferences or just simply your ability to pay what the market's paying?
Yeah, I think the main thing, Ken, is to be honest with the person you're interviewing. And people tend to shortchange themselves. Your company probably has other great things that you can talk to that candidate about, right? You might have flexibility in scheduling that other bigger employers don't have. You might have a great atmosphere and cultural environment that other companies don't offer. A mission that other companies don't do a good job of saying. But really take inventory of what is the value proposition for that team member and then sell that to candidates, right? Yeah, we may not have the best salary out there. We're not the leader in salary, but we have all these other things that they don't. And those things have a value. For the right people, they're going to say, I'd rather have this than the extra $2.
Yeah, so true. And I can tell you just from the data that I study and real people that I talk to, many times people would take recognition and other rewards that are beyond compensation as a great fix for not being able to give me the total compensation.
Right.
They want to feel valued. They want to know that you care about them, and they'll trust you to take care of them on compensation if you take care of them in other areas.
Yep, and it all ties together.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It really is the entire package. If you are an HR or business leader and you want to know where you can find more resources like this conversation, go to SmartDollar.com and click on resources.